The name of this session itself is Public Administration Orientation Session. Fundamentally, the purpose of this session is to give you an information with regard to this optional called Public Administration, so that you can take an informed decision whether to choose this optional or not to choose this optional. Never take a decision in ignorance, because this is your life, right? అమ్మ కొద్ది ముందుకు రావాలమ్మా, ఎందుకంటే ఫ్రంట్ సీట్స్ ఎంటీ ఉన్నప్పుడు ఆ ఎఫెక్టివ్నెస్ రాదు, రైట్? హౌ మెనీ ఆఫ్ యూ హియర్ కాంట్ అండర్స్టాండ్ తెలుగు? యూ కెనాట్ అండర్స్టాండ్ తెలుగు. కన్నడ కదయ్యా, రైట్, ఓకే. So the purpose is to give you an information with regard to this optional called Public Administration, so that you can take an informed decision. Because understand this point, whatever optional you choose, whether this optional or whatever optional you choose, but your optional plays a very crucial role in your success. And if you are not able to pull good marks in your optional, IAS will be your distant dream always. And we always see people who change their options frequently. After writing 2 attempts, they'll change their options. That is not needed, right? So before you take a decision, those people who haven't yet decided, just understand what is this subject is, then choose whether to go for this option or not. Okay, that informed decision making is very much important, right? So as usual, what I will be discussing in this particular 1.5 hour to 2 hour session is that what are the factors that you people need to take into consideration while choosing an optional. I'll not exhaustively discuss on this particular topic, because my intention is not to speak on that, because nowadays YouTube videos are there. What are the parameters you have to choose or you have to rely upon while choosing an optional? But still I'll give a brief overview of that particular issue. So what are the parameters generally you people have to take into consideration? Then I'll try to give a layman understanding of this subject called public administration. I'll not go into the technical details, at least I'll try to avoid those technical stuff. I'll try to give a basic layman understanding of what this public administration is all about, okay? Right? Like a simple way of understanding what is public administration, what we deal with it. And also I'll be trying to focus what are the advantages of this optional. Trust me, I'll do it in a very critical way. It's not just boasting of this optional, but I'll do it. I'll try my best to give that critical picture. Critical picture means pros and cons of this optional. It's not if I give only one side of the picture, amma ee optional teesesukonde adripoddi ane danikante, just I'll give the pros and cons. Because that's what, when I give a pros and cons only you can take an informed decision. Then the most important topic of discussion for today's session is that what is the chapters and what is the syllabus of public administration. There I'll try to focus more, because if you take a decision based on the syllabus, your decision will be rational enough. A syllabus ఏదో తెలియకుండా డెసిషన్ తీసుకునే కంటే, what is the syllabus, what are the topics, I'll give in a brief way, not in a very elaborative way, right? So this is what the lecture plan today. If time permits, I'll give you sources also, and what is the strategy that you people have to adopt, right? And every subject have its own strategy, right? So this is what the lecture plan of this session. I request you to concentrate here, try to connect with this optional. If you're not able to connect, then you will always have a plan B, but try to concentrate, okay? So how many of you know something about, or how many of you know something, if I ask you what is public administration to you, how many of you know something about it, what it is, what generally it consists of? Governance. So you want to say public administration, governance are one and same? Almost, right? We will see. Yeah, you're true. Particularly in 21st century, public administration is governance. You're true in that matter. So we'll start. I'll use lectures so that the session will be more structured. So I hope You know these images. I think you are familiar with these images, right? I hope you know this person. Doubt లేదు కదమ్మా, right? Okay, fine. So this is what the session plan. How to choose an optional, what is public administration, what are the advantages of this optional, and what is the strategy that you people have to follow. Ma, one thing you remember, every one of you have unique strengths of your own. Don't go with crowd mentality, please. Now we always, listen that a particular optional is working. Are Baba, it may work for the other person. What about you? You may not be the same person like the other one, right? Don't go with that crowd mentality. And for your information, I'm saying before I start this session, whatever optional you take, if you have interest in that optional, you can clear this exam. You can clear that option. Whether you're taking public administration, whether you're taking political science, whether you're taking history, geography, sociology, anthropology, or even your engineering or graduation subjects, you will clear provided you have interest in that optional. So don't discuss or deliberate what optional I have to choose for almost 3-4 months. Please don't waste your time in asking this question, what optional I have to take, for almost 2 months. Anta avasaram ledandi, right? Whatever optional you take, you can make it. Please trust me. You will have the potential, right? And for your information, those people who topped in public administration optional, they are non-PubAd students. Those people who are topping in anthropology, they are non-anthropology students. Those people who are topping maybe geography or sociology, they are not from these subjects. So if you have interest, you can do well in this particular subject. So that is the first question which you people have to ask yourself, whether am I having interest in this particular option or not. Many people waste 3 to 4 months of their time just deliberating on this single question, which optional I have to choose. And finally they choose an optional in which they don't have any interest, right? You don't get into that trap, and don't get driven by crowd mentality. See this statement: a wise man makes his own decisions, an ignorant man follows public opinion. Yes, మీరేం దేశ ప్రధాని కాదు పబ్లిక్ ఒపీనియన్ పాటించడానికి, రైట్? పబ్లిక్ ప్రజాస్వామ్య దేశం కదా మంది. పబ్లిక్ ఒపీనియన్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ అని నో ఒపీనియన్ పోల్ పెట్టడం, విచ్ ఆప్షన్ సూట్స్ మీ. అరే విచ్ ఆప్షన్ సూట్స్ యూ హ్యావ్ టు కాల్ ద షాట్, నాట్ ద ఒపీనియన్ పోల్, right? So this is the basic thing, you keep it in mind. Whatever optional you choose, just go with this logic, right? So before dwelling into that, how to choose an optional, let me give a few parameters what you have to take into consideration while choosing any optional. One thing I have mentioned, that is what the interest. So these images, everything is related to public administration. Just you can go through requirements, standards, regulations, law, transparency rules. These are the words which are very central to public administration. We discuss on this words only, regulations, laws, transparency and all this stuff. I'm not going to the technical details, but just how to choose an optional, basic things I'll say. I'll not discuss this topic for hours together, just a core idea. Whatever optional you choose, I said the first thing is whether you have interest in it or not. But there is an important question here. Sir, how to know whether I have interest or not? How to know whether I have interest or not in a particular subject? ఏం లేదండి, గవ్వలు ఉంటాయి కదా, అది ఇలా వేసి ఒకటి పడితే నాకు ఇంట్రెస్ట్ ఉంది, లేకపోతే లేదు. How we will know that whether you have interest or not? ఎలా తెలిసేది? How do we know that whether we have interest or not? Actually, this session intention is to give you that. First, go through the syllabus. Go through each and every topic. Can you connect with it? Do you want to learn those topics or not? Is the first question which you have to ask for. Then go through the previous year questions. 1 or 2 years previous year questions. Try to read that. Whether you can understand something, whether you love to write something and answer for it or not. These are the two important things which you people have to keep it in mind. మన ఫస్ట్ చదవాలని కోరిక ఉండాలి. ఆ ఆప్షనల్ ఏ ఆప్షనల్ తీసుకున్నా, వెదర్ ఇట్ ఈస్ పబ్బాడ్, పొలిటికల్ సైన్స్, హిస్టరీ, XYZ, ఫస్ట్ యూ షుడ్ ఆస్క్ దిస్ క్వశ్చన్, do we have interest or not? Trust me, if you have interest, whatever the difficulty level of that question paper in that particular year, still you will be in the top 100, provided your GS is good. And of course interview should be fine. ఇంటర్వ్యూకి వెళ్ళాక సార్ క్వశ్చన్ మీరు అడుగుతారా నేను చెప్పేమంటారా, ఈ అతి చేయకపోతే you will be in the list, right? You will be in the list, right? So this is the first question which you have to ask for yourself, interest. So I'll give that syllabus, right? And also I'll not give previous year question, at least you can work that. But whatever option you choose, first you do this. Whether this or anything else, first you do this. Without going through the syllabus, without going through the previous year questions, don't choose any optional. Right? This is the first thing, and that is why we conduct orientation session. Okay? Next, performance trends. How this particular option is performing. Before answering this question, I'll tell you a universal fact. In 2013, the topper was from economics. In 2014, the topper is from geography. In 2015, the topper is from political science and international relations. In 2016, the topper is from Kannada literature. In 2017, the topper is from anthropology. In 2018, the topper is from mathematics. In 2019, the topper is from public administration. In 2020, again, the topper is from anthropology. Every year, the toppers are from different optionals. Right? ఈ ఇయర్ ఈ ఒక్క ఆప్షనల్ తీసుకుంటే నేను ఐఏఎస్ అవుతాను అనేది బోటకం. అండర్స్టాండ్, డోంట్ గో విత్ దిస్ క్రౌడ్ మెంటాలిటీ. Right? Even people believe mathematics is something relatively tough, but there is a topper, no, from mathematics also. From Kannada literature, people are there. From economics, people are there. Right? So don't go with this crowd mentality. And every year in the top 100, for your information, I am jagrataga vinale. In the top 100, you will find people from public administration, political science and international relations, anthropology, geography, sociology, and literatures too. Right? So performance wise, every option is relatively doing good, but at least you should ask this question, how this particular option is doing. I'll tell you the fact, I don't want to hide any truth. From 2012 to 2015, public administration to score good marks is a tough thing, because questions used to be so dry and so abstract. But from 2016 onwards, this option is doing good. And in 2020, I don't know about other options, in 2020, public administration question paper is the easiest question paper in the last decade. ఒక సంవత్సరం నేను చెప్పట్ల, 10 సంవత్సరాల్లో 2020 క్వశ్చన్ పేపర్ ఈజ్ ద ఈజియెస్ట్ క్వశ్చన్ పేపర్. దీంట్లో ఒక ఎగ్జాజరేషన్ కాదు, ఒక అబద్ధం లేదు, ఇట్స్ అ ఫ్యాక్ట్. అండ్ ఈవెన్ ఐ వాజ్ సర్ప్రైజ్డ్ అండ్ షాక్ టు సీ ద పేపర్. ఏంటి ఎంత ఈజీగా అడిగేసినాడని. వై? బికాస్ ద నేచర్ ఆఫ్ ద క్వశ్చన్స్ ఆర్ చేంజింగ్. సో పర్ఫార్మెన్స్ వైజ్ ఇట్స్ డూయింగ్ గుడ్. అండ్ ఐ విల్ గివ్ యూ అ స్టాటిస్టిక్స్ ఆల్సో, ఎందుకంటే మనకి స్టాటిస్టిక్స్ చూపించకపోతే నమ్మంగా ఏది. Right, I will show you the statistics which UPSC gave. Statistics UPSC should give. నాకు వచ్చిన ఒక నెంబర్ లేసేలేను కదా, UPSC should give, and whatever the statistics available, I will show to you. So before you choose an optional, just ask this question, whether this option is performing or not. But again I said before, whatever optional you take, you can be in the top 100. Right? Even I said no, from 2012 to 2015, PubMed was tough. Even then, there are people from public administration optional in the top 50. Means what is that? We can say, if you're an average student, that optional may be tough for you. But if you're really a meritorious student, irrespective of the paper standard, you will be in the top 100. ఇది మీరు గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాలి. Right? So this is what performance trends is, one important thing which you people have to ask yourself. The third one is availability of the sources. Sources we need to find. At least to study something, we need a source, right? లేకపోతే మీకు మీరే పుస్తకం రాసి చదివేస్తారా? అలా లేదు కదా, దానికి టైం ఉంది ఇంకా. సో ఫస్ట్, డూ వీ గెట్ ఈజీలీ సోర్సెస్ ఆర్ నాట్? I think many popular options, not only public administration, political science, PubAd, sociology, anthropology, you can easily get sources. There is no doubt in it, right? ఇది వదిలేసి ఆ ప్రాకృతి పాలి లాంటిది తీసుకున్నారనుకోండి, ఆ గౌతమ్ బుద్ధుడు అవన్నీ ఆ పుస్తకాలను ఓపెన్ చేసేయాలి, లేదు సోర్సెస్ అంతగా, రైట్? సో దిస్ ఇస్ ఆల్సో వన్ థింగ్ యూ కీప్ ఇట్ ఇన్ యువర్ మైండ్. సోర్సెస్ అవైలబిలిటీ, ఈజీ అవైలబుల్ అంటే బుక్ షాప్కి వెళ్ళగానే వెంటనే దొరికిపోవాలి. మీరు పుస్తకం పేరు చెప్పి అది ఉందో ఆప్షనల్, ఆ పుస్తకం ఏంటి, ఈ డౌట్స్ అడగకూడదు, రైట్? ఎస్, రైట్. మినిమమ్ థింగ్ ఈజ్ దట్. అండ్ ద లాస్ట్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ పాయింట్ ఈస్, ఐఎమ్ నాట్ సెయింగ్ టీచింగ్, బట్ అట్లీస్ట్ సమ్ వన్ హూ కెన్ గైడ్ యూ. అమ్మ, దెర్ ఇస్ అ డిఫరెన్స్ బిట్వీన్ అకాడమిక్ సబ్జెక్ట్స్ అండ్ ఆప్షనల్స్. నౌ those people who do BA in public administration or MA in public administration, their understanding is different, and what UPSC expects from you is different. So in this optionals, at least some mentorship or some guidance should be available, right? Particularly with regard to engineering subjects, though you may have sources and everything, but that mentorship is not easily available in the market. So these are some basic factors which you people need to take into consideration while choosing an option. I am not exhaustively discussing, because you can get the content from various sources, okay? This is what some factors that you people have to keep in mind. Now, the biggest question, what is public administration? Anyone without seeing that board, can you answer it? What is public administration? ఒకటి తెలియాలండి ముందు. Every subject there will be some core definition. For example, if I say history, what is history? Understanding of the past. Avuna? Right? If I say physics, what is physics? Understanding of the forces. If I say biology, what is biology? Understanding of cell and its dynamics. Right? If I say chemistry, maybe it is understanding of an atom. Basically, it is about that. So if I say administration, what it is? And if I say public administration, what it is? Some layman understanding should be there too. So administration, I want to say it in a very layman sense. Administration is how you handle people and money. Management of the people itself is administration. As an IAS officer, what you have to do? IAS lo A ante అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్గా ఏం డౌట్ ఉందా అందులో? లేదు కదమ్మా. అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్, యాజ్ అడ్మినిస్ట్రేటర్, వాట్ యూ విల్ డూ ఇస్ దట్ యూ విల్ మేనేజ్ ది రీసోర్సెస్ ఆఫ్ అన్ ఆర్గనైజేషన్. రీసోర్సెస్, ఐ మీన్ హియర్ ఫినాన్షియల్ రీసోర్సెస్ యాజ్ వెల్ as human resources. As a district collector, there will be entire system which you have to handle. So administration is basically about handling, managing of people and resources. But when I add a prefix called public, the entire character will change. Amma, administration will happen in law excellence also. Today, to conduct this orientation class, lot many people involved. It's not the faculty alone. There is a marketing team, there is an online team, and there is a optional coordinator team, right? The classroom maintenance team. వీళ్ళందరూ కలిస్తేనే ఈరోజు క్లాస్ మనం చెప్పగలుగుతున్నాం. సో అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్ ఈజ్ అబౌట్ హ్యాండ్లింగ్ ఆఫ్ దోస్ people and resources, right? So it will be there everywhere. But when I say public administration, when I add the word called public, it means administration in government organizations. This is what the basic word of public administration. In other words, if you want to know little more broad definition of public administration, it is all about understanding what and how of the government. What and how of the government is all public administration. What the government wants to do. Please don't say government doesn't want to do anything. ఈ పెసిమిజం వద్దు. మీరు రాసేది బ్యూరోక్రసీ ఎగ్జామ్, నక్సలైట్ ఎగ్జామ్ కాదు. So don't have this much of high pessimism that government is not at all doing anything. Government is doing something or not. So it is basically what the government wants to do and how that is being done. Today, Modi government wants to achieve Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, and Sabka Vishwas, and Sabka Prayas. This is what the Modi government wants to achieve. Yes or no? Now Telangana government wants to achieve a concept, something called Bangar Telangana. Right? Andhra Pradesh government wants to achieve that Navaratnas. Right? So every government has something to achieve. And this is what defines public administration. And how that will be achieved? How that will be achieved? Right? Now Bangar Telangana, how it can be achieved? Navaratnas, how it can be achieved? Developmental state, which Modi government is striving to achieve, how it will be achieved? That is what administration is all about. Now Modi government have a vision, doubling of farmers' income. Vinnara ide? Doubling of farmers' income. That is the goal of Modi government, doubling of farmers' income. Farmers ante evaru? Suutu bootu eskoni evaramma farmers ante? Telusu kada. Doubling of farmers' income is just a goal of the government. But how it is achieved? Recently farm bills were introduced for that. Right? Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi Yojana. Some programs are started for it. ఆ స్కీమ్ని ఇక్కడ ఏమని పిలుస్తాం తెలంగాణలో? రైతు బంధు. అక్కడ ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్లో వైఎస్ఆర్ రైతు భరోసా. దిస్ ఇస్ హౌ దే వాంట్ టు అచీవ్ వాట్? డబ్లింగ్ ఆఫ్ ఫార్మర్స్ ఇన్కమ్. రైట్? సో దిస్ వాట్ అండ్ హౌ ఆఫ్ ది గవర్నమెంట్ ఆర్ ది టూ ఐస్ ఆఫ్ పబ్లిక్ అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్. టుడే అన్ ఐఏఎస్ ఆఫీసర్ వాట్ హీ విల్ బి డూయింగ్, వాట్ ది గవర్నమెంట్ ఈజ్ సేయింగ్. లేకపోతే మీకు ఏమైనా ఎజెండా ఉంటుందా? రైట్? సార్ నవరత్నాలు బాగాలేదు, నా లక్కీ నెంబర్ కాదండి అది, ఒక 5 రత్నాలతో అడ్జస్ట్ అవుదాం. అవుద్దాలి? నో. రైట్? సో వాట్ ది గవర్నమెంట్ వాంట్స్ టు ప్లాన్, యూ హ్యావ్ టు అచీవ్ దట్. దట్ ఈస్ వాట్ ది layman definition of public administration. And it also, we also study in public administration the entire machinery which is there in our country from central secretariat to, or from center to village level. Today to do anything we need a machinery, right? We need a system, and that system is called bureaucratic system, and we will be studying about that bureaucratic system, and you people are aspiring to enter into that bureaucratic system. అంతేనా? ఐఏఎస్ బ్యూరోక్రాట్ అనా లేకపోతే ఇంకేదైనా జాబ్? కాదు కదమ్మా. సో యూఆర్ ఎవ్రీ వన్ ఆఫ్ యూ ఆర్ ఆస్పైరింగ్ టు ఎంటర్ ఇన్ టు దట్ బ్యూరోక్రాటిక్ సిస్టమ్, అండ్ వీ విల్ బి స్టడింగ్ దాట్ బ్యూరోక్రాటిక్ సిస్టమ్, ద సిస్టమ్ వీ హ్యావ్ ఇన్ అవర్ కంట్రీ, ద ఎంటైర్ ఇండియన్ అడ్మినిస్ట్రేటివ్ సెటప్. At central level, what system we have? We have parliament, we have ministries, we have departments, we have central secretariat, we have cabinet secretariat, we have prime minister office, we have various attached bodies, we have constitutional bodies, we have statutory bodies, we have executive bodies. All these institutional setup we will be reading as part of public administration. You will be somewhere posted here, no? Maybe in a constitutional body or in a statutory body. Right? MP avarandi. IAS చదువు చదివితే MP avaru, bureaucrat avutaru. Right? But still we will be discussing parliament, and also we will be discussing about judicial institutions in our country. We have a big judicial structure, no? Supreme Court, High Court, district level courts. Right? In district level both civil as well as criminal courts. Gram Nyayalayas. Right? Lokadalas, entire institutional setup we will be trying to discuss. Now what institutional setup we have at state level? Ayya? Legislative Assembly, Legislative Council. Right? Next we have State Secretariat. Right? We have State Secretariat. At district level what institutional setup we have? The most important institutional setup at district level is District Collectorate, Jilla Parishad, right? And other departments which are there at district level we will be discussing. At sub-district level and village level also we have institutional setup. For example, in Andhra Pradesh we have this concept called Village Secretariat, first of its kind in the entire Indian administrative history, having a secretariat at village level. Right? So the entire institutional setup we will be discussing as part of public administration. Endukante administration avvalante ee system pancheyale. And what are the evils the system is having? Do we have some evils with regard to the system? Yes or no? Yes, we have. And the most important evil is corruption. And the next important evil is nepotism. What is nepotism?
From father to son.
Bandhu Preeti. That is there in our Indian administrative system. Unda leda? Undi. Kavalsinanta. Everyone wants to give something to their blood relatives. Ma koduku, ma muni manavadu, ilki. Right? That nepotism is there. And why that nepotism is there in Indian administration? Why corruption is there? And why this system is not able to function? In the first slide, there was an image called Mission Karma Yogi. The recent scheme which Government of India introduced to reform the entire bureaucracy. Because bureaucracy is facing these evils. If bureaucracy is not efficient, whatever goals you have, maybe developmental state, welfare state, or maybe your Bangar Telangana, whatever, it will not be achieved. I'll tell you one example. In 2019, in Andhra Pradesh elections, that time government, Telugu Desam party lost. And one of the reasons for this particular party to lose in that election is the chief minister failed to control the administrative machinery. This is one reason. So if you are not able to control administrative machinery, if you are not able to run the administrative machinery effectively, inchu kuda munduku podu bandi. Right? So this is what we'll be learning as part of public administration. And the ultimate principle that cannot be compromised with is public interest. Today they'll ask you in interview, why you want to become a civil servant? Obviously, what is the reason? To do something to the public. Today you may create one institution. Today you may create an application, an e-application. Or you may launch a scheme. Or you may start an infrastructure project. Whatever you do it, the ultimate question that should be there in your mind is whether it will do anything good to the public or not. You should not ask questions like what this will do for me and my family. No, that should not be the purpose. Daniki chala joblu unnai. As an IAS officer, your primary goal is public interest. That is the difference between an IAS officer and a non-government officer. This should be always a cardinal principle to you, right? This is one thing. So we have lots of system, and every system needs to function in such a way that public interest is achieved. Sometimes government come up with various programs where public interest will not be the prime motive. Vote bank politics, right? Most of the times we hear this. What is vote bank politics? అవునయ్యా, నాకు తెలియదు. ఇప్పుడు నా దళిత బంధు, దెర్ ఇస్ అ స్కీమ్, ఐ థింక్ మోస్ట్ ఆఫ్ యూ హ్యావ్ హర్డ్ దిస్ దళిత బంధు స్కీమ్. నా వై దళిత బంధు స్కీమ్ వాజ్ ఇంట్రడ్యూస్డ్ ఇన్ హుజరాబాద్ కాన్స్టిట్యుయెన్సీ. నిజంగా మీకు దళితులపైన అంత ప్రేమ ఉండుంటే, ఇఫ్ యూ హ్యావ్ దాట్ మచ్ ఆఫ్ ఇంట్రెస్ట్ టువర్డ్స్ ది వెల్ఫేర్ అండ్ అప్లిఫ్ట్మెంట్ ఆఫ్ దళిత్స్, వై యూ హ్యావ్ స్టార్టెడ్ దట్ స్కీమ్ ఓన్లీ అ పర్టికులర్ కాన్స్టిట్యుయెన్సీ? So your intention and the agenda behind that particular scheme is not Dalit empowerment, but a political calculations. Yes or no? So this is something, compromising with the public interest. Right? Then the last one, the development. As a bureaucrat, do you have any role in social and economic development? Yes, of course, you have the most important role. What do I mean by social development? What do you mean by social development? Providing education, providing health, increasing the skills. Safety for women. Giving assurance to all vulnerable sections. మీరు కలెక్టర్ అయ్యాక మీరు పెద్దగా ఏం చేయాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు. ఒక భరోసా ఇవ్వండి. This is the only thing that you people give. గవర్నమెంట్ దగ్గరికి పోతే పని అవుతుందని నమ్మకం ఇవ్వండి. That is the most important thing which you people should strive for. Right? So social development should happen. The problem with Indian administration is most of the times they serve only some vested interest. అభివృద్ధి అనేది కొన్ని వర్గాలకి, కొన్ని మతాలకి, కొన్ని కులాలకే పరిమితం అయిపోతుంది దేశంలో. అవునా కాదా? Right? So that should not be the purpose of the administrator or administration. You should achieve that inclusive growth, inclusive development. I hope you know what is this inclusive development. Yes or no? What is that? All sections needs to be included in the path of development, but that is not the case in our country. There are many sections which were excluded, right? I think today there was one article in the Hindu. Supreme Court is saying we should give reservations in promotion for SCs and STs. Why? Because though reservation is there for SCs and STs at entry level, but their representation is not there at higher levels. So there is some debate going on. Okay? So social development. What will happen if an IAS officer is biased towards his caste, towards his religion, towards a particular gender? Antakanta daurbhagyam em untada, right? When an IAS officer he himself is biased. Can we expect a egalitarian society? Can we ensure something called inclusive society? Right? And economic development. Yes, you play a very important role, right? And the best example is fiscal policy. Fiscal policy is, I think, budget. I hope you know what is a monetary and fiscal policy. Now, who will be implementing this fiscal policy? Again, the government, in other words, bureaucracy, right? So, they too play a very important role in economic development. So, fundamentally, what we will be discussing in public administration, it is about the government machinery which we have across various levels and what they are implementing and how they are implementing, whether those things are ensuring social and economic development or not, whether they are trying to take forward public interest or not. These are the questions which will be there in the entire public administration discussion. I'm not discussing any technical terms here, just the basic essence of public administration. Vyavastha panithiru gurinchi cheppede public administration ayya. We learn about the functioning of the system. And system, if it is not functioning, the country called India might collapse. Today, if the police officers stop functioning for one day, you will understand what will be the impact on law and order. Yes or no? If the IAS fraternity stops working for one single day, now we are witnessing a free life here. But how many government institutions are functioning at the same time? Understand? Electricity department. Transportation department is working, right? వాళ్ళందరూ పని చేస్తేనే ఈరోజు మనం వచ్చి దర్జాగా క్లాస్లో కాల్ మీద కాల్ వేసుకుని కూర్చుంటున్నాం. వాళ్ళు కనిపించరు. దే విల్ నాట్, ఇట్స్ నాట్ సో టాంజిబుల్ ఆల్ దిస్ టైమ్. ఆల్ అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్ ఇస్ నాట్ సో టాంజిబుల్, రైట్? సో దిస్ ఇస్ వన్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ థింగ్ విచ్ విల్ బి డిస్కసింగ్, అండ్ దిస్ థీమ్ విల్ బి దేర్ త్రూ అవుట్ ద ఎంటైర్ అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్. ఓకే, రైట్? సో నౌ వాట్ ఆర్ ద అడ్వాంటేజెస్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ ఆప్షన్? What are the advantages? Why to choose this option? This is one important question. Maybe most of you want to know why to choose this option, right? So let me be very critical in saying what are the advantages, and also I'll try to say the other side of it, right? Before going that, just see these optional success rates. Aya indulo నా కళాఖండ ఏం లేదు, యూపీఎస్సీ ఇచ్చింది మీరు వినాలి. బికాస్ రైట్ నో యునో ఇట్ ఈస్ బికమింగ్ సో డిఫికల్ట్ టు ప్రూవ్ క్రెడిబిలిటీ, రైట్? సో ఒక్క నెంబర్ కూడా నేను మార్చలా. ఇట్స్ జస్ట్ యూపీఎస్సీ రిలీజ్డ్. నౌ దెర్ విల్ బి సమ్ స్మార్ట్ బ్రెయిన్ సిట్టింగ్ హియర్ అండ్ దేర్. సార్ నౌ వీఆర్ ఇన్ 2022, నో వై యు ఆర్ స్టిల్ యూజింగ్ ద స్టాటిస్టిక్స్ ఆఫ్ 2016-17? యూపీఎస్సీ రిలీజ్ చేయలేదు. ఇప్పుడు నేను సరే ఈ లెక్క పెట్టేసుకొని నేను వేసేద్దాం రఫ్గా అంటే వేసేయచ్చు. హూ విల్ ఆస్క్ మీ, రైట్? బట్ వీ డోంట్ హ్యావ్ ద స్టాటిస్టిక్స్. దిస్ స్టాటిస్టిక్స్ యూపీఎస్సీ గేవ్, రైట్? జస్ట్ అన్ ఆప్షనల్ సక్సెస్ రేట్స్, బికాస్ సమ్ పీపుల్ సే దట్ a particular option is doing good, a particular option is not doing good, but I'm not commenting on it. Just I'll focus on my public administration optional. In 2017 the success rate is highest, and in 2016 anthropology was highest, 10.7, and after that public administration. 28, I said from 2016 onwards public administration is really doing good. 2018 was okay, fine. 2019 the topper is from public administration, and I'm very confident raskondi mata 2020 lo public administration will really do good because of the paper, right? But I don't have any statistics to prove it. So I'm just not using anything. But whatever the statistics I have, you can just go through it. And of course it's 2016, 2017. Now you can ask me, take an optional which is having low success rate. Sir, if I take this optional, will I clear? You will clear provided if you are serious in it. But this is a statistic which UPSC gave. I am just showing for yourself. Okay, showing to you. Now what are the advantages of this optional? Many of you, I think some of you who have fixed your optional, I believe this is the first reason to fix. Because public administration will give you an acquaintance with administration, which something you have to do after you clear this exam. As an IAS officer, as an IPS officer, what you have to do is that you have to do administration, and what is that administration, what the system is all about, we will learn as part of the subject. So this is one advantage. Now there will be some smart brains. Sir, if I don't take this optional, will I not become a good administrator? నేను చెప్పానా తల్లి? నేను ఏం చెప్పాను మీరు ఏం అడుగుతున్నారు? I said it gives an acquaintance with administration. If you don't take this option, that doesn't mean you will not become a good administrator or your life will be hell. No. But it gives an acquaintance. That's why I said I'll give each point in a very critical way. Right? It is dynamic in nature. There is no doubt in it. I think I can say confidently, this is one optional. It's not only alone, but there are other options also, which are dynamic in nature. What do I mean by dynamic in nature? It changes with the time. It changes with the time. So current affairs reading plays a very crucial role. And why that is an advantage? Because anyhow you have to read current affairs. So that same current affairs will be sufficient to write a good answer in public administration, particularly paper 2. And most of the paper 2 questions are current affairs motivated questions. Right? So in that way it is one advantage, like whatever current affairs you read, that will be useful for your public administration also. Okay? This is one advantage of this optional. Again, you can ask me a question. Sir, if I don't take this optional, will I not read current affairs? అది నా ఉద్దేశం కాదయ్యా, right? Please, okay? So this is one thing. Overlap with topics of polity, governance and ethics. Some people said, when I asked what is public administration, you only said it's governance. Yes, it's true. So for polity, particularly for governance, I can very confidently say not even a single page you have to read extra. Not even a single page. Because whatever is there in governance we'll be discussing as part of public administration. Right? And in polity also, because paper 2 consists of lot of polity topics which we'll be discussing. Now few people said, no, what are the institutional setups we have at union level? You said judiciary, legislature, executive. Polity lo kuda ive chavutaruga. Mana desame kada. So that is what I mean. There is a overlap with the topics of polity, governance and even ethics. In ethics there are two components. One is the philosophical part and the other one is administrative topics. The administrative related ethics. And those administrative ethics also we'll be discussing as part of public administration. Particularly those case studies in ethics paper which deals with administrative related functioning. I think this understanding of public administration will play a role. Right? Now it's not like only those people who took public administration optional, they scored high marks in polity and governance or in ethics. It's not like that. Maybe it can give you an advantage provided how better you use this subject. It all depends upon your usage. But still I can very confidently say in governance and also in administrative related ethics, this subject will play a very important role. I'm not saying about GS paper 3 and also in essay. Right? And for your information, every subject has some advantage in general studies. Man nizam maatladukundam. Every subject have some or the other advantage in general studies. If you take particularly sociology, again it have an advantage. If you take political science, it too have certain advantages. So every optional have some or the other advantages. Okay? Positive trends in scores. This is one important point which you people have to take note of. Nowadays, for the last 5-6 years, this option is doing good, right? And paper is also on a, not so tough, relatively easy, because the questions are moving towards application based, not the theoretical stuff is being asked, okay? Limited syllabus and more application centric. Yes, I cannot argue very firmly with limited syllabus. Every optional is limited syllabus for that matter. Maybe there are some other options which have less syllabus than public administration. I don't want to give a fabricated picture of my optional. But application oriented, idi matram 100% true. If you are a person who cannot by heart the things, trust me, in public administration there is no single concept which you have to by heart. And those by hearting stuff UPSC is not asking. For that matter, not only in public administration, in entire GS. So this is a subject, if you can understand certain concepts. What is a headquarter? What is a field level? What are the issues with the headquarter and field level institutions? If you can know certain concepts, I hope you can do it. Because ఇక్కడ 15-20 పాయింట్లు బట్టి కొట్టేసి అంత అవసరం లేదండి. Now those questions are not of that kind. If you can write in your own words, I hope you can do this subject. No need to mug up anything. లేదు, ఇది బలంగా చెప్తున్నా. రైట్? ఓకే సార్, ఎవ్రీ ఆప్షనల్ విల్ హ్యావ్ అడ్వాంటేజెస్. నాకు ఇది వద్దు, నాకు డిసడ్వాంటేజెస్ కావాలి. నాకు డిసడ్వాంటేజ్ చెప్పండి ఫస్ట్. డిసడ్వాంటేజ్. ఫస్ట్ థింగ్ ఈజ్, if you don't have interest and if you taking this optional, మీకు నరకం చూపిస్తుంది. If you're not having interest and then choosing the subject, you cannot connect with the subject. Then it will be like something boring. Okay? And for that matter, this holds good for every subject. Even for civils preparation, if you're coming without interest, that also will be like a bore, no? It's like a boredom, right? Second thing is that the questions are of a very reasonable standard. They will not be direct. They will not be direct. Let me be very clear. They are not so direct. And enti, what is public administration? Who is the Prime Minister of India? ఇలాంటివి అడగరు. వాళ్ళు అడిగిన రోజు నేను చెప్పడం మానేస్తా. So the things, they are little bit analytical. So maybe there you may feel little bit of, if you're not having a conceptual clarity, you may have an issue. Because they are not like a very direct and simple questions of a degree, what I can say, the school. Standard ఉండదు కొంత. What you call, some analytical way of asking questions will be there. And for that matter, even prelims is of like that, and other general study subjects are also of like that. And if you are a person with good writing skills అంటే ఏంటి? A person who can express exactly what he thinks. If you are of that kind, I think you can really do well in this subject. Because if you can express your views, I think you can do it well, this option, right? But if you don't have a proper writing skills, I think this option will create a problem. And again, if you don't have writing skills, enter civil services create a problem. Essay, DS paper 1, 2, 3, right? Everywhere you need skills. Sir, మీరు డిసడ్వాంటేజ్ చెప్తామన్నారు, మీరు చాలా డిప్లొమాటిక్గా చెప్తున్నారు. Because there will not be a disadvantage to any option, because every year you will see, in the top 100 people. But of course, the questions are relatively of high standard. That's what I'm saying. Last year, the 2021 exam is one of the easiest paper in the last decade. Right? Otherwise, they ask of a reasonable standard. If you are good in the concepts, I hope you can do it. Understanding the question is, if you can understand the question in public administration, 60% of answer is done. మీరు పెద్దగా గుర్తుపెట్టుకొని రాసేయాల్సిన ఏ ఉండవు పాయింట్స్. జస్ట్ ఓన్లీ హౌ యూ ఎక్స్ప్రెస్ యువర్ వ్యూస్, దట్ ఆల్ మ్యాటర్స్. ఓకే, దీస్ ఇస్ వాట్ క్రిటికల్ అప్రైజల్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ అడ్వాంటేజెస్ అండ్ డిసడ్వాంటేజెస్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ పర్టికులర్ ఆప్షనల్ కాల్డ్ పబ్లిక్ అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్. అయ్యా ఏమైనా డౌట్లు ఉన్నాయా? నో? రైట్, చలో, ఇది నిజమే. రైట్? Because why I am saying one thing, I think most of you are, some people are from December, January batch are there. I think you are new to this field. Now most of you will be staying in a hostels. In hostels, there will be lot many people who are born for census only. జనాభా లెక్కల కోసం ఉన్న వాళ్ళు చాలామంది ఉంటారు హాస్టల్స్లో. వీళ్ళు దే మే సే సర్టన్ థింగ్స్ టు యూ, that too with gut feeling. So they may brainwash you. So without facts, don't get carried away, right? So that is what my intention of giving that particular slide. Okay. Now coming to optional public administration, paper 1 and paper 2, there are 2 papers. What is the total mark? 500. Paper 1 300, paper 2 200. 250, right? In paper 1 we have 12 chapters. In paper 2 we have 14 chapters. So total 26 chapters. ఇప్పుడు 26 అనగానే బుక్ తీసుకుని బయటికి వెళ్ళిపోవద్దు. అదే ఇట్స్ నాట్ ఎ బిగ్ నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ చాప్టర్. ఓకే, వీ కెన్ ఫినిష్ ఇట్ ఆఫ్ ఇన్ 4 months. ఓకే, అండ్ దేర్ ఆర్ ఓవర్లాపింగ్ టాపిక్స్ ఆల్సో విచ్ వీ విల్ బి డిస్కసింగ్. ఓకే, సో ద పేపర్ 1 basically deals with the theoretical part. It deals with public administration. And paper 2 deals with Indian administration. The paper 1 is theory and the paper 2 is practice. How administration should be is the most important question which paper 1 tries to address. How it is your paper 2. How a bureaucrat should be. He should be a person with honesty. He should be a person with integrity. He should be a person with commitment. He should be a person with efficiency. He should be a person with effectiveness. But how he is? He is a person with nepotism. Corruption లేకపోతే నిద్ర పట్టదు. There are certain things. This is the realistic picture. Not everyone. No, please. Not everyone. Please don't have that pessimistic opinion. Right? There are a good number of bureaucrats. Very honest bureaucrats. Like Shankaran. Many people are there. వాళ్ళ లేకపోతే దేశం వీళ్ళకి ఈ మాత్రం స్టేజ్కి వచ్చి ఉండేది కాదు. రైట్, సో విల్ బి డిస్కసింగ్ ద థియరిటికల్ పార్ట్ హియర్ ఇన్ 12 chapters అండ్ ఇండియన్ అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్ విల్ బి డిస్కసింగ్. దిస్ వాట్ ది బ్రాడ్ వ్యూ ఆఫ్ పేపర్ 1 అండ్ పేపర్ 2. ఓకే, సో నౌ వీ విల్ బి డిస్కసింగ్ ద డీటెయిల్స్ ఆఫ్ ది సిలబస్. వాట్ ఇస్ ద సిలబస్ వీ హ్యావ్? Now I need your high levels of concentration. Try to connect with it, and after we finish this class, try to just go into the details of it. Okay, try to just go through the previous year questions also. Okay, then you take whatever decision you want to take. Okay, this is what the entire syllabus of public administration. Paper 1 consists of 12 chapters and paper 2 14 chapters. Okay, so what is the first chapter and what we will be trying to discuss? Please, I need your concentration here. The first chapter in public administration is about introduction. Right? Why this public administration as a discipline emerged? When it emerged, first of all. And I said public administration is dynamic in nature. What it mean? Public administration changes with time. Now, how an IAS officer should function in 2022 and how an IAS officer used to function in 1960 is both one and same. ఒకటేనా అయ్యా? ఎందుకు? అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్ అంటే ఒకటే కదా. అక్కడ ఐఏఎస్, ఇప్పుడు ఐఏఎస్. బట్ వై? బికాస్ ద సిచ్యువేషన్స్ చేంజ్డ్, ద కంటెక్స్ట్ గాట్ చేంజ్డ్. Now, the way you people have to work in 2023 and the way you people have to work in maybe in 2035, 2040, will it be same? No. Nowadays, the entire governance or the entire administration is using electronic means like Twitters, Facebooks, right? It was not the case 3-4 decades back, no? So administration changes according to the context, and we'll be discussing those factors here. What are the important forces which influenced administration? And one important force which you people might be familiar with is LPG, liberalization, privatization, globalization. And this important force influenced administration. And that influence is nothing but governance. The governance as an idea emerged in 1990s. So we'll be discussing the entire evolution of public administration from 1887 to 2022. Right? Now what administration should do right now? One is the sustainable developmental goals. The administration should achieve those sustainable developmental goals. How many goals we have? Ennamma? Goals అన్నాడు కాబట్టి ఒక దగ్గర 100 200 ఉంటాయి, చెప్పండి ఏదో ఒకటి. రైట్, 17 goals. Right? Targets. Now administration should strive hard to achieve that. మీరు చేయకపోతే ఇంకెవరు చేస్తారు sustainable developmental goals? Right? So we'll be trying to see the entire evolution of public administration. Right? Then the second topic is administrative thought. Here we also discuss governance and good governance. Have you heard these words, good governance? So we'll be discussing those concepts also as part of the first chapter. Right? Second chapter is administrative thought, and the third chapter is administrative behavior. Today I started the class saying that the purpose of orientation session is to give you an information to take an informed decision. Yes or no? That is what the words I used. Actually these words are said by a guy called Herbert Simon, and for which he got a Nobel Prize. So here we'll be discussing various administrative thinkers who contributed to the discipline called public administration. Every discipline to evolve, it should have some theory. And who will be contributing a theory? It is administrative thinkers, right? Here we'll be discussing thinkers like Taylor, Max Weber, and you know who is this guy, Max Weber? The bureaucracy which you people are aspiring to enter. Actually, he is the person who gave a character to bureaucracy, who defined bureaucracy. The structure right now we are witnessing, hierarchy, neutrality, all this stuff. Actually, these things are contributed by Max Weber, a very important person for the evolution of modern bureaucracy. Right? So we'll be discussing many thinkers. Right? And administrative behavior. See, administrative behavior means how do you behave in an organization. See, as an individual, you can behave in the way you want, please understand. But once you're entering into an organization, you can't behave the way you want. Yes or no? Now, you can give an opinion of yours. Right? As a civil aspirant, you can give your opinion. But once you enter into a system, as a civil servant, can you give a critical opinion on the government? As an IAS officer, can you say these words, this government is not doing anything? Now you can say it. So when you are an organization, there is certain behavior that you people have to show. For example, take me as an example. As an individual, I don't have any obligations to follow certain things. But once I enter into the premises of law excellence, I have to follow a particular conduct. When the class is at 2:30, I have to be available at 2:30. Avuna kada? When you're an organization, there are certain codes which you people have to follow. Right? These topics we will be discussing as part of administrative behavior. How a manager or how a person should behave like. Who should be a leader in an organization. Such topics will be covered here. Okay? And understand, there is one powerful word which you people are very familiar with called motivation. What is motivation? Have you heard this word? Motivation? వచ్చేసి ఉంటుంది, ఆల్రెడీ నెల అయిపోయింది కదా వచ్చి, తెలిసిపోయి ఉంటుంది. మోటివేషన్ రావట్లేదురా చదవడానికని నెలకే. సో ఐ హోప్ యూ ఆల్ నో వాట్ ఈస్ దిస్ వర్డ్ కాల్డ్ motivation. Right? Now understand this point very carefully, boss. Now you will be heading a system which consists of thousands of employees. How to motivate these people to achieve a particular purpose? And it's not everyone is having enthusiasm and interest. As a collector, how you will motivate the entire workforce in the district? Ant easy kaatalledi. Right? Nowadays, we watch some 15 videos to get motivated. అది ఆల్మోస్ట్ 10 గంటలు పడుతుంది, ఒక్క అరగంట చదవలేం. Right? So motivation is not such an easy thing. And now you have to motivate a good number of people in an organization. And you should know the behavior of those people, no, first of all. And ఏం చెప్తే ఈయన మోటివేట్ అవుతాడు? What should I say to motivate a person? At least you should understand, no? Yes or no? And if you speak politely, some people will get motivated. And if you intimidate, some people will do the work. Yes, sir? Right? అందుకే అన్నారు మనిషికో మాట గొడ్డుకో దెబ్బ అని. Right? So you should know the strategy, how to motivate people. All these principles we will be discussing, and how you communicate. How you communicate. As an IAS officer, you should be able to communicate exactly the intention which you want to achieve. మీరు కళ్ళతో సైకిల్ చేస్తే అవ్వదు. Right? You have to communicate. Yes or no? And how you people take decisions in an organization. And if an IAS officer will if he takes a wrong decision, అమ్మ ఇప్పుడు నేను ఒక డెసిషన్ తప్పు చెప్తే మహా ఇంపాక్ట్ ఎంత ఉంటుంది, 10-15 మంది మీద ఉంటుంది. బట్ ఇఫ్ అన్ IAS ఆఫీసర్ takes a wrong decision, the impact will be on the entire district. So how you have to take decisions? What are the factors that you people have to take into consideration? Right? These are the topics which we will be discussing in this particular chapter called administrative behavior. Administration అనేది ఏదో తూతూ మంత్రం కాదండి. It is a skill that you people should have. See, everyone will clear IAS exam, no? Why only some administrators are very popular or very talented or very skilled? Because administration is not something that everyone can do it. It is a skill. Handling of people is a skill. Yes or no? Sometimes you also will feel, my father can handle, and you also think, my father can really handle people. Or sometimes you may say, my mother can handle people well. మాట తెలుసు ఆవిడకి, మనకి ఏది తెలియదు అనుకుంటావు ఒకసారి. రైట్? సో హ్యాండిలింగ్ ఆఫ్ పీపుల్ ఈజ్ నాట్ సో ఈజీ. మనం ఉన్న రిలేషన్షిప్నే మనం సరిగ్గా హ్యాండిల్ చేయలేం. ఇప్పుడు 1000 మందిని హ్యాండిల్ చేయాలి వితౌట్ హర్టింగ్ దేర్ సెంటిమెంట్స్, అండర్స్టాండింగ్ వాట్ దే వాంట్ టు వాట్ దే ఆర్ ఎక్స్పెక్టింగ్ ఫ్రమ్ ద ఆర్గనైజేషన్, అట్ ద సేమ్ టైమ్ అచీవింగ్ ది ఆబ్జెక్టివ్ ఆఫ్ ద ఆర్గనైజేషన్. Yes or no? It's a very powerful skill that not everyone will have. And this particular topic tries to deal with that administrative behavior. Okay? Now there is an organizational theory and forms here. See, understand, there are many organizational forms in our country. I hope you have heard these words. Union Public Service Commission అని ఒక అద్భుతమైన బాడీ ఉందంటే విన్నారా? Right? Central Bureau of Investigation, there is one more body. వాళ్ళకి ఏదైనా కోపం వస్తే వచ్చేస్తుంటారు సీరియస్గా. రైట్? రైట్? సెంట్రల్ విజిలెన్స్ కమిషన్. రైట్? కంపెనీస్, హ్యావ్ యూ హర్డ్? కంపెనీస్, డిపార్ట్మెంట్స్, కార్పొరేషన్స్. ఎస్, హ్యావ్ యూ హర్డ్ దీస్ టర్మ్స్? జస్ట్ హ్యావ్ యూ హర్డ్? వాట్ ఆర్ దీస్ టర్మ్స్? కెన్ ఐ కాల్ Union Public Service Board? Why only commission? I said Central Bureau of Investigation. Can I call Central Commission of Investigation? What do these words mean? When I say department, Railway Department, Department of Electronics, right? What do I mean by a department? What is its structure? What is the objective for creation of a department? What is this ministry? Recently, one new ministry was created. I hope some of you might be knowing it. Ministry of Cooperatives. Why they created a ministry? How a ministry or a department can be created? How a commission can be created? What is the functioning of a commission? And in what way that is different to a board or a bureau? All these factors we'll be trying to discuss, because you will be part of either a board or commission or a bureau in your future. So you should at least know what are the differences between these organizational forms and structures. Right? This is the core topic of organizations and forms. And related to this topic, there is a chapter here called Public Sector Undertakings. What is a PSU? Public Sector Undertakings అంటాం కదా. ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఏమైనా ఉన్నాయమ్మా? ఎనీ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ కెన్ యూ గివ్? అయ్యా, ఇండియన్ ఆయిల్ కార్పొరేషన్. నెక్స్ట్ BSNL, BHEL, State Bank of India, right? Coal India. All these are public sector undertakings. What do I mean by that? Public sector undertaking. Government is the majority shareholder. Oh no? Now we are witnessing some concepts like privatization, disinvestment. Now everywhere there are protests. When recently government announced to privatize Vizag steel plant, there was protests, right? Why government is going for privatization? Why government is going for mergers? Recently BSNL and MTNL got merged. What are the issues that comes out of it? And I hope you people also heard things like Maharatna, Miniratnas. Vinaraive? Maharatna? No? Miniratnas, Navaratnas? Yeah. Navaratna ante mana Jaganannadu kaadu. Aa ratnalu verevi. So these things we will be discussing, right, as part of this public sector undertakings. As part of public sector undertakings. Okay? So this is what the topic, organization theory and forms and PSUs. This is one important thing which we will be discussing. Okay? Accountability and control is the other topic. What is this word accountability? Very good. Answerability. And as an IAS officer, are you answerable to anyone? Yes or no? It's not your Jagir. Please understand. You are answerable to legislature. You are answerable to executive. You are answerable to judiciary. You are answerable to public. Yes or no? Right? So who are the stakeholders involved in a country that will make the administration answerable? Why we have to make the administration accountable? Why do we have to make administration accountable? Amma? To bring in transparency in their functioning. Next. To improve their efficiency. Next. Understand this one point. This administration have lot of power and authority. And if they have lots of power and authority, if you don't control them or if you don't make them answerable, they may misuse or they may abuse the power and authority. And there is one person called Kautilya, which I will be discussing here. He said one point, that is, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And most of the crimes that happened in our country is because of the appetite people have towards power. Yes or no? That is one of the reason. Padavipe Vyamoham. This is one reason why many people will commit crimes. Right? So this much of power and authority is there with the administration. So obviously it needs to be made answerable to the people. Right? These are the things which we will be discussing here. Accountability and control. What are the tools the judiciary have to control the administration? For example, public interest litigation, judicial review, right? What are the tools available with the parliament to control administration? Example? Very good. Motions, various types of motions, budget, right? Budget is also one tool. And if a budget is not passed by the parliament, government should resign. Yes or no? So these are the mechanisms, tools which we will be discussing as part of accountability and control. And the other topic is administrative law. Administration should happen within a legal framework. You can't do the things the way you want to do. There is a law that you have to abide by. Right? Yes or no? This is what we will be discussing in administrative law. What is that legal framework that you people have to abide? As part of that, we will also discuss an institutional mechanism called tribunals. Have you heard this word, tribunal? Can you give an example of it? National Green Tribunal. So we discuss why these tribunals were created. In what way that will help in enforcing administrative law. And what are the issues which tribunals are facing. And one more tribunal which you people are familiar with, I think, Central Administrative Tribunal, CAT. What is the function of this tribunal? Tomorrow, if you get a problem as a civil servant, you can approach this tribunal, Central Administrative Tribunals. At state level also, we have those tribunals called SAT, State Administrative Tribunals. Okay? So, those institutions and the legal framework which the administrators has to follow will be discussed in this particular topic called administrative law. Then comparative public administration. Now here we will be trying to compare the administrative system of this country called India with other countries, particularly with Western countries like Britain, right, with United States of America. Why only some problems are very much high in Indian administration? For example, corruption. Corruption is high, relatively high, and the nature of corruption in India is completely different. We have retail corruption, right? When you go to a government office at different levels, we have corruption. This is something called retail corruption, okay? Next, I said this word, nepotism. Nepotism is one important thing which Indian administration have. It may not be that much prevalent in Western countries. Why? Something to do with the social setup of this country. Yes or no? Family is an important institution in India. So obviously it will be reflecting on administrative functioning also. ఇంట్లో వాళ్ళకి ఏదో ఒకటి చేయాలని ఒక తపన ఉంటుంది కదా, రైట్? So this is few topics we'll be discussing here. We'll be trying to compare the administrative systems of various countries, right? Next, developmental dynamics. This word is a very powerful word, development. But before going into it, what is development? Is development is same for everyone? A tribal woman, for her development might be something different. An urban educated youth, for him development is different, right? For a rural person, maybe the development is different. For a farmer, the development might be different. So development itself is not a homogeneous idea. It's a heterogeneous idea. When development itself is a heterogeneous idea, how administration will handle this many diversified forms of development, right? So we'll try to discuss those concepts in this particular topic. And here we'll be discussing Gandhian approach to development. What development is according to Gandhi? What development is according to Amartya Sen? And what development is according to Western countries? And what development is according to Karl Marx? So we'll try to define what is gender and development means. This concept is also nowadays being very often asked in UPSC. Gender and development. What is the role played by women in development? And what is the relationship between development and women empowerment? Such type of questions we'll be discussing. And also we'll discuss concepts like self-help groups. Any example you have in your mind with regard to self-help group? Dwakra, Kudumbasri. We'll discuss these concepts also, right? Because administration is the only trusted instrument that can facilitate development. Understand, right? Understand the beauty of bureaucracy, or understand the beauty of government. Never government will take a crisis as an opportunity in a wrong way. For example, during the COVID, when there is a crisis, the private sector took that as an opportunity, but government took it as a responsibility. There is a difference between government functioning and private functioning, right? Crisis, they never wants to make profit out of crisis. Yes or no? Today, I often say this example. Today we have many private buses or travels. They'll run their buses from Hyderabad to Warangal, or Hyderabad to Vijayawada, or Hyderabad to Mumbai, which is commercially viable for them. They'll not run their service to a village, but government will run the service. Even if there is no single passenger, still they'll run the service, because for them profit is not the primary motive. Service is the primary motive. Yes or no? అక్కడ జనాలు లేరు, రావట్లేదని చెప్పి వాళ్ళు వెళ్ళడం మానేరు. ఈవెన్ ఇఫ్ దెర్ ఇస్ వన్ ప్యాసింజర్ దే విల్ గో. ఈవెన్ ఇఫ్ దెర్ ఇస్ నో ప్యాసింజర్ ఆల్సో దే విల్ గో, బికాస్ ఇట్స్ ఎ రెస్పాన్సిబిలిటీ ఫర్ దెమ్ టు రన్ ది సర్వీస్. ఎస్ ఆర్ నో? ప్రైవేట్ సెక్టర్ విల్ నాట్ డూ ఇట్. అండ్ అండర్స్టాండ్, డ్యూరింగ్ ఎ ఫెస్టివల్, private travels will increase the rates, but government, they'll give more services. They may add few more buses or few more trains. Yes or no? So for them, the crisis is like a responsibility, but for private sector, it's an opportunity to earn profits. There is a difference between these two, right? So development, you should able to understand, and you should promote that inclusive development, right? This is what the developmental dynamics. Personal management. I'll be discussing this topic along with civil services in India. In this particular topic, we'll be trying to discuss the recruitment, how a civil servant will be recruited, right? How you people are given training, right? What is the career advancement you people have once you enter into the system? And if you do any overaction, what are the disciplinary measures? And what is the code of conduct you people have to follow as part of bureaucracy? Is there a code of conduct or not? Yes, there is a conduct which you people have to follow. There is a limit above which you cannot take a gift. And any gift which is above that price, you have to report to the higher authorities. There are certain things which we will be discussing, right? As part of personal administration. Here also we will be discussing civil services. Both will finish at a time. It deals with the entire personal administration, starting from recruitment to retirement, R to R. Every process we will be discussing in this particular topic. Okay. Then next topic is public policy. As what is the important role of administrator? Policy formulation or policy implementation, right? If you are a higher level civil servant, you may be involved in policy formulation. If you are a chief secretary of a state, or if you are a cabinet secretary, or if you are a secretary of a particular department, you may be involved in policy formulation. If you are an intermediary or middle level official or maybe lower level official, you will play an important role in implementation, right? Right? So we will be discussing this entire policy process, formulation, implementation, and also evaluation of that particular policy, right? And how this policy process is changing. Earlier, only the government used to formulate a policy. Only the bureaucracy used to implement it. But right now, NGOs are there. Private sector is there. Public-private partnership models are there. Civil society is there. Now, how this policy process underwent change, we'll be trying to discuss here, right? Only through policy you can achieve what the government really wants to. Yes or no? Right? Through policies. Policy can be a scheme. It can be a a guideline or an initiative. Or it can be a broad policy like national health policy, national education policy. All these things we'll be discussing as part of this particular topic called public policy. Okay. Techniques of administrative improvement. As you people said, sir, administration is something dynamic, so it has to change with the time periods, right? Otherwise, administration become obsolete or outdated. So, administration needs to improve regularly, right? Otherwise, you cannot deliver the services. Now, what is the important tool which we are using to improve the administration? What is the important tool right now we are using to improve the administration? Very good. E-governance. Digitalization is part of it. Are we using that electronic governance? Yes or no? Electronic governance means using ICT in delivery of goods and services. Arogya Setu app, CoWIN, all these are examples of that. If that is not there, assume. If governments asked, please go to the nearby health department and register for vaccine. Just imagine how much time it will take, and it can be a breeding ground for corruption. Yes or no? Nowadays, the entire administration is moving through electronic route in delivering of goods and services. Is it not an improvement of administration? Yes. So, we will be discussing those concepts like e-governance, how this e-governance is playing a role in improving the administration, right? Now, why IAS officers, they are posting something on Twitter or Facebook regularly? Earlier, we hardly used to know what the government is doing. Now, at least we are aware of it, right? Today, to submit your application to UPSC, you are not going to a post office, right? Everything is being done on online. Yes or no? Right? Is it a good thing or a bad thing? It's a good thing. It will improve the system. It will reduce the delays, right? And the last topic is financial administration, and here also there is a topic called financial management. We will be discussing these two topics at a time. Financial administration and financial management. Financial administration means we focus here how government is mobilizing the resources. For administration, you need money, no? So how government is mobilizing those resources, right? How government will mobilize the resources? Through taxation, right? We have direct and indirect taxes. Yes or no? Tell me example of a direct tax. Income tax, corporate tax, and indirect tax? Goods and services tax, right? So how resources are being mobilized and how it is being spent? On which sectors the money is being spent? Such question. Welfare schemes, agriculture, industry, or private accounts of the ministers. Right? So we'll be discussing those topics here. And also we'll discuss things like auditing, accounting as part of this topic. Tell me which institution involved in auditing? Comptroller Auditor General of India, CAG. In accounting, there is an institution called Comptroller General of Accounts, CGA. So these two institutions are involved in accounting and auditing. We'll be discussing what is accounting and why we have to do accounting. Why accounting is important, ma? To ensure transparency. Without accounting, how we will audit? So every department should maintain some accounts, no? Now what is the issue with Indian administration is, many urban local bodies, they are not maintaining accounts. And recently 15th Finance Commission said this, if you don't maintain accounts for the next, maybe by 2024, if you don't maintain proper accounts, we will not give a single rupee of money to you. So please maintain accounts so that we can understand how you are spending the money, right? So these topics we'll be trying to discuss as part of financial administration and financial management, like role of RBI, Minister of Finance, right? And also the public debt profile of our country. Public debt profile of the country. See, we are not able to get adequate revenues. And we are a welfare state. We have to spend a lot of money on welfare schemes. But the amount of money which we are getting is not that much. So what we can do? We can go for borrowing. So we'll be discussing the debt profile of this country. Okay, this is what the core essence of the various chapters in paper 1. Right? And also some paper 2 topics also I have discussed. Right? This is what paper 1 is all about. I haven't discussed the details of it, but the broad picture of each and every chapter. Now you think, once open the syllabus, now read the topics. Now at least you can get some clarity on it. Right? And the second paper is, I told, Indian administration. Lot of contemporary topics will be there here. Current affair topics. And newspaper reading is very much important. How many of you are reading newspaper? I think everyone is November batch student? December and January batch students. So how many of you started newspaper reading? No, not yet. And newspaper reading is very much important, boss. అది ఒక్కటి మీరు సరిగ్గా చేస్తే 50% టాస్క్ అయిపోయినట్టమ్మా. మనది ఒక్కటే చెయ్యం. ఐఎమ్ సీరియస్ అబౌట్ ఇట్. మనకు అదొక్కటే, the most important thing that you people have to do is newspaper reading, because if you read newspaper, it will be useful for your prelims, for your optionals, even for your GS paper 2 and GS paper 3. GS paper 2, GS paper 3 is completely of current affairs. I don't know why many people don't even read a single paper in Hindu. Please read. At least put 2 hours of time. It will help you, boss. Understand? Right? I said in orientation class also this point. IAS is a very good dream, but the journey is so tough. The rhetoric that is always around IAS is really good, fantastic and fabulous. But the journey sarda tirpoddi. Right? And I said this word before also. మొత్తం యవ్వనం నాశనం అయిపోద్ది ఏదైనా తప్పు జరిగితే. Now you have a luxury of time. You have a luxury, maybe the financial resources are also fine. ఇది ఉండదు ఒక 2-3 years తర్వాత. మీరే అన్ చేసుకోవాల్సి వస్తుంది. సో టేక్ దిస్ థింగ్ యాజ్ అ సీరియస్. I don't know how many of you are from engineering or medical science. If you put at least 1/3 of the effort which you're putting here, you can earn a good job there. You left that career and you came here. So take seriously. Every day read newspaper, and if you're doing it, most of the subjects are done. Governance, social justice, public administration paper 2, economy, polity, almost done from a single paper. Please read. Right? I know this. Even if we say 110 times, manager will say, director will say, concerned managers department will say, but we don't know why people will not read newspaper. We give a handout, but that is a supplementary copy which you have to finish in 20 minutes or 15 minutes. Right? Please do that. Okay? And if you read that newspaper, most of the topics are like, you can easily get good scores. In the first topic, we discuss about the evolution of Indian administration. Today we have a system and how the system got evolved. We will be discussing one popular book of ancient time called Arthashastra, written by Kautilya. This guy is known for wisdom, very good wisdom. He says few words. Your enemy's enemy is your friend. And this is important principle which you people have to follow in international relations. Right? And to protect the state, you can use Sama, Dama, Danda, Beda. ఏదైనా వాడి రాజ్యాన్ని కాపాడుకోండి. రాజు అనేటోడు రాజ్యం ఉంటే ఉంటుంది. So for that, do whatever you want. Right? So he also gives certain things with regard to administration. How a king should behave with the people. And he says how a king should behave during epidemics. Yeah, he wrote something there in 300 BC about epidemics. How a king should deal with epidemics. And he says the objective of the king and the state is Yogakshema of the people. These are the words which he uses. We have many things to learn from Kautilya's Arthashastra. Then Mughal administration also laid a strong foundation to Indian administration. Right? So we'll be discussing Mughal administration. Like Mansabdari system, the revenue systems. We have certain legacies of this system. The public sector undertaking just now I mentioned, no. Actually it was there during Mughals period also. The name is different. They used to call it as Karkhanas. We call now public sector undertakings. Then came these people, Britishers. And they laid the strong foundation for the administration which we are following. Take any institution, you will find its roots in the colonial period. Central Secretariat, Parliament, State Secretariats, all these institutions evolved during colonial period. Even the IAS, earlier it used to be called as Covenanted Service. Then it became Imperial Civil Service. Then it became Indian Administrative Service. So we are following the same structure, same process to a certain extent, and the same institutional mechanism which colonial rulers implemented in our country. So we will be discussing all these things. The district they created, right? So the entire legacies during legacies of colonial period we will be discussing. Then there is an important document which everyone have to abide by, and the document is Constitution. So what is the core philosophy of the Constitution which the administration should follow? Right? An administrator should be secular or not? He should follow the fundamental rights, or he should respect the fundamental rights of the people or not? He should strive to achieve directive principles of state policy or not? Yes or no? So there are many values enshrined in the Constitution which the administrative system should follow. Right? The administrative system should strive for liberty, equality, fraternity. Yes or no? And these values are mentioned in the Constitution. So we will be discussing the core philosophy of the Constitution that the bureaucracy should follow. Right? Because it's the supreme law of the land. Right? So we'll be discussing our Constitution here. Right? And public sector undertakings we have finished. Already we discussed as part of organizational forms. Then the next 3-4 chapters is like this. We'll try to see the institutional structures which we have at union level. What are the institutions we have? Central Secretariat, Prime Minister Office, Cabinet Secretariat, Legislature, Executive, Judiciary. This is what through which entire administration happens. Yes or no? we'll read about these institutions, right? At state level also we have similar institutions, right? We'll be discussing those institutions. And we used to have something called planning, right? 5-year plans. We have 12 5-year plans. And there used to be a body which used to formulate these plans. What is that? Planning Commission. Because of their unnecessary overaction, now it is not there. Got abolished. In its place, Niti Ayog. So we'll be discussing about Niti Ayog. We'll be discussing about Planning Commission and also the concept of planning. And we also focus what are the recent reports released by Niti Ayog with regard to administration and governance. This is what this particular topic is, right? And I also said in district administration we have lots of institutional setups. District collectorate is the most important office, right? Yes or no? He'll have complete control of the entire district. So we'll be discussing the functions of district collector. What are the problems district collector is facing? And also we'll be discussing other institutional forms which are present at district level, right? Now, there are other topics which you people are familiar with. Urban governance and rural governance. So we have this amendment acts called 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act. Now 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act created for a 3-tier structure. Jilla Parishad, Mandal Parishad or Mandal Samiti, Gram Panchayat. So we'll be discussing these institutions. What are their functions? What are the problems these institutions are facing? Whether these institutions have a role in governance? Yes, they have a role, right? And in urban governance also we have certain institutions like Municipal Council, Municipal Corporation, Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation, Cantonment Board, Secunderabad Cantonment Board, Township, Port Trust. All these are urban governance institutional forms. We'll be discussing all these institutions and what are the issues these institutions are facing. And in addition to that, we will also discuss various schemes which the government of India started with regard to urban areas and also with regard to rural areas. Swachh Bharat, Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, right? Smart cities, Amrut, right? Jal Jeevan Mission. These are some schemes which some of you may be heard. All these government schemes we will be discussing with regard to rural areas and urban areas, right? Now, we are almost 70 years plus, right? We got independence 1947, we are in 2022. So what are the various committees that were constituted at different points of time? And what are the recommendations to improve the administration? That is what this topic is. Administrative reforms since independence. I said administration has to change according to the situation. So there are a lot many committees which were constituted at different points of time. First ARC, First Administrative Reforms Commission, 1966. Second ARC, which we will be discussing, 2005. And various other committees were constituted to bring in reforms in the administration. And those important committees and the recommendations we will be discussing. Administration needs to change according to the times. Otherwise it becomes outdated. I have told you before. And the most important topic in paper 2 and interesting is law and order administration. Every one of you have some perception towards police. Yes or no? Good or bad? Most of the people have a bad perception towards police. Why this perception is there? Right? There is no professionalism in police. This is the basic perception which people have. In the recent times, we are witnessing increase of custodial deaths. Last year there was a father and son duo killed in Tamil Nadu. Yes or no? Right? So why this is happening? Why the police are not so sensitive? And what reforms we have to bring in with regard to police functioning? Right? And we will also discuss various important committees that were constituted to bring reforms in police functioning. Like National Police Commission, Dharmavira Commission, who gives a list of recommendations that police should function in this way. For example, one of the recommendation, police should not use handcuffs. When police are going to interrogate a children or woman, you should not go in uniform. And you should not ask children to come to police station. You should go to their house. Such certain sensitive things were there which are not being implemented. Right? And in addition to that, in law and order, we have other more institutions that play a crucial role. Like paramilitary forces, Central Armed Police Forces. We have no examples like Central Reserve Police Force, CRPF, CISF, Central Industrial Security Force, Border Security Force, BSF, Shastra Seema Bal, SSB, Indo-Tibetan Border Police, ITBP, right? Coast Guards, Assam Rifles. All these also play a very important role in law and order of this country. Yes or no? They too play a very crucial role. We will be discussing these institutions, their mandate, and what are the issues these institutions are facing. Right? Right? So, in addition to that, we also have certain other important institutions that deals with law and order, like intelligence units, RAW, Research and Analysis Wing, IB, Intelligence Bureau, Central Bureau of Investigation, Narcotics Control Bureau, Enforcement Directorate, chala mandiki chala popular, Enforcement Directorate, right? Right? So, we will be discussing these institutions and their mandates and what role they'll play in law and order administration. Will they play an important role or not? Yes, because right now the crime got changed. The nature of the crime witnessing a change. Without the support of intelligence agencies, today law and order is not so easy to maintain. Right? We need the support of these people. Right? So these topics we'll be discussing as part of law and order administration. Right? And the last chapter in paper 2 is some significant issues in Indian administration. And the most significant issue which we people are troubling, which troubles us a lot is corruption. Why there is a corruption in our country? What are the legal and institutional frameworks we have in our country to deal with corruption? I hope you are understanding what is this legal framework means. What are the laws we have to deal with corruption? And what are the institutions we have? Prevention of Corruption Act is there. Lokpal and Lokyukta Act is there. Whistleblower Protection Act is there. All these institutions are there to deal with corruption. But still, thank God, there is a corruption. Because corruption is not, we have corruption, it's not because we don't have laws. It is a psychological problem too. It's a social problem too. Right? మన లైన్లో నిల్చోవడం ఇష్టం ఉండదు. ఒక 100 రూపాయలు ఎక్స్ట్రా ఇచ్చి టికెట్ కావాలి. రైట్? Yes or no? So that is a psychological as well as social problem too. That's why we are not able to address it. And we have another important concept like disaster management. It's a very important topic. Administration should prepare for disasters, no? They should handle it. You cannot rely on private sector. Only government can handle it. So what is the institutional framework we have in our country to deal with disasters? National Disaster Management Authority, NDMA, National Disaster Response Force, NDRF. And what are the laws we have? Recently, Epidemic Disease Act is also there in news. So we'll be discussing the entire legal and institutional framework to deal with disasters in our country. Because we know geographically, India is a vulnerable country for various disasters. Like cyclones. Unda? Right? Because you know there is a big amount of ocean on both sides. Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea. So there is, India is vulnerable for cyclones, earthquakes. Right? So how the administrative system is geared up or prepared to deal with disasters is the most important topic. And we'll also discuss some concepts, some institutions like National Human Rights Commission. Have you heard this body? Right? Right? So we'll be discussing the mandate of NHRC. right? So this is what the essence of paper 2. Lot many topics are there. Most of the topics are current affair related topics. Particularly there is a topic in state administration. What is the relationship between union and state? These topics are very contemporary. Right now we are witnessing, there is a conflict between center and states in every aspect. So such issues will be asked in it. So this is what the crux of paper 1 and paper 2. This is what the broad overview. God promise antakante ekku ledam mandulo. Right, okay. So this is what the syllabus of public administration, right? Do you have any doubts? Aya? Yeah, first let me finish it off. I'll discuss sources also, because this is what the crux of the orientation session. Why we had orientation session is not to say you what are the factors that you people need to take into consideration to choose an optional. Now I think most of you people are well informed. You know that those things. My intention is to give the overview of this slide and the previous slide, because this is what public administration is. This is what the syllabus is, and this is what we will discuss in the class. So that's why I was a little more elaborative on this particular slide, right? You can just go through the details of it if you want. Okay? Aya, we doubt? Graduation subject? I told you, right? I started the discussion. As per my knowledge is concerned, not only this subject, boss, any subject, any civils optional you take, their graduation is surely not in that subject. So non-public administration people are doing good in public administration, particularly engineers, right? Engineers, engineering tapte anni baga chestunaru. Adi okkadu వదిలేసినారు, right? So other people can really do good, and graduation subject will not play a much role, I can say, right? If that is the case, only people from public administration optional should score high marks. No, it's not the case. Not only with this optional, with all options, right? So don't have that perception. And also in graduation, the way you prepare is completely different. You'll have that academic bent of mind. Here we need that application practical bent of mind. UPSC questions are not of an academic theoretical abstractions. They're of a practical substance. Okay, next. Yeah.
This option, do we need to remember more data regarding current affairs?
Which one, ma? This one. Public administration.
When we are writing this answer,
I said this before, and I'm saying with gut confidence, this optional is one of those options where no need to mug up any data. If you know the essence or the concept of it, you can write an answer. I said your expression matters. మీకు తెలివి నిజంగా ఎక్స్ప్రెషన్ రాసే దాంట్లో ఉంది. అబద్ధమైన నిజంగా చెప్పే స్థాయి ఉంటే మీరు పబ్బాడ్ ఇస్ ద ఫస్ట్ థింగ్, రైట్? బికాస్ ఇట్స్ ఆల్ అబౌట్ యువర్ ఎక్స్ప్రెషన్. టుడే దే విల్ ఆస్క్ యూ వై దెర్ ఇస్ అ కరప్షన్. ప్లీజ్ టెల్ మీ సొల్యూషన్స్. ఏముంటాయి సొల్యూషన్స్? దేర్ షుడ్ బి ఎ హోలిస్టిక్ అండ్ కాంప్రహెన్సివ్ అప్రోచ్ విత్ అన్ ఇంటిగ్రేటెడ్ అండర్స్టాండింగ్ టు డీల్ విత్ కరప్షన్. ఏం చెప్పానమ్మా నేను చెప్పాను సొల్యూషన్. అండ్ ద అదర్ పర్సన్ ఆల్సో విల్ సీ, యా దిస్ గుడ్, ఇంటలెక్చువల్లీ గుడ్. ఏం చెప్పలే నేను. ఐ డెంట్ సే ఎనీథింగ్. ఏదో పదాలతో గారడీ చేశారు. సో పబ్లిక్ అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్ ఇస్ దాట్ వేర్ యూ కెన్ ప్లే విత్ ది వర్డ్స్. ఎస్, దట్ ఈస్ నో నీడ్ టు మగ్ అప్ వర్డ్స్. And for your information, I am also very poor in remembering things. No. From which branch? What is your educational background? Science background. So not an issue, right? Yeah. Any other doubts? Sources I'll give you. Yeah. No. So what are the sources which we have to read for this paper 1 and paper 2? There are a list of sources. For those people who already took a decision that this optional is, you can start, suppose if you can understand of a good language, you can start with Mohit Bhattacharya. There is a book called New Horizons of Public Administration by Mohit Bhattacharya. right? No sir, I want to start with basics because I'm new to the subject. I want some basics. I don't want a very high standard. Then there is a book called Public Administration by S.P. Naidu. S.P. Naidu is written in a very simple language which you people can understand. Pol Naidu, S.P. Naidu, Manode. Right? So, New Horizons of Public Administration by Mohit Bhattacharya. In Manode gadaya. New Horizons of Public Administration by Mohit Bhattacharya. This book is a very fantastic book, and sometimes UPSC directly picks statements from this book and give. One of the credible book which we can rely upon. Right? These are the two books. Sir, ఇదిగో నాకు ఈ బుక్లు ఇవేమొద్దు, ఒక పుస్తకం చెప్పండి ఫస్ట్ నుంచి లాస్ట్ వరకు ఉండాలి అందులో. బికాస్ ఐ ప్రిపేర్డ్ ఇన్ దాట్ వే. నాకు ఇగో ఈ టీఎంహెచ్ గైడ్లు చదవడం అలవాటు, అలాంటి బుక్ ఉంటే చెప్పండి వస్తా. స్టిల్ దేర్ ఆర్ బుక్స్ ఆఫ్ దాట్ కైండ్. వన్ ఈజ్ పబ్లిక్ అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్ బై అరిబం. Entire syllabus will be there in small volume. Aribam. It's like a guide just written for UPSC aspirants. He is also an UPSC aspirant, cleared, and he wrote a book, Public Administration Volume 1 by Aribam. And for paper 2 also is there, right? So these are some books. I'll discuss because you can start with these books. Anyhow, if we start classes, for every chapter we'll be discussing what books we have to read. Sir, ఇది కాదు, బుక్ ఎలా ఉండాలంటే భయపడాలి జనాలు. దట్ పబ్లిక్ అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్ నేను తీసుకోకూడదు. అలాంటి బుక్ ఏదైనా ఉంటే చెప్పండి అంటే రాజ్యాంగం ఉందిగా కొనేయండి మొత్తం. రైట్? సో ఫర్ పేపర్ 2 దెర్ ఇస్ అ బుక్ కాల్డ్ ఫాదియా అండ్ ఫాదియా, a fear mongering book of this much of size, but it's very good. It covers the entire paper 2. Fadhia and Fadhia, Indian Administration by Fadhia and Fadhia. Okay, these are some books which you can start with, right? And every chapter have some important books which we'll discuss. Okay, right? So this is what the essence of this orientation session. What is the strategy that you people follow? We'll be discussing. Don't worry, it's not an issue that, because there are some people who should fix which optional they have to decide upon, and those people who have fixed will go into the details. What should be the strategy which we have to discuss, and also with regard to books, I'll discuss more detail. What is the strength of each book? What is the advantage and disadvantage of each book? We'll discuss. Okay, right? Any other doubts? Mohit? No? And with regard to class, I think February 10th is the tentative date which we will start the class, right? We need orientation and the class 2 weeks we need to promote. Okay, so that is what the plan, and we take 4 months, 120 hours of 120 classes we'll take 4 months. That is what. So we'll conduct tests also. These technical details we can discuss later, not an issue, but it's a 4 months course. సార్ ఇప్పుడు 3 నెలలకు అవ్వదా సార్? ఇది అవ్వదనే కదా చెప్తున్నాను. 3 నెలలకు అవ్వదు, రైట్? ఐ కెన్ సే వీల్ ఫినిష్ ఇట్ ఆఫ్ ఇన్ 3 months, then I'll take 4 months. So it will not be finished. I need 120 hours of 120 classes, not hours, right? లేదు సార్ మాకు 1 monthలో అయితే వస్తామంటే 25 రోజులు అవ్వకూడదు, రైట్? Because we have to be slow in the initial days so that you will assimilate the subject. After that we can be little fast. Okay, that's all from my side. If you have any doubts, any online people, if you have any doubts also you can ask. Okay, no doubts? అడగండమ్మా, పర్లేదు. అంటే దాన్ని తిట్టాలనుకుంటే దానికి స్లాట్ పెట్టుకుందాం, ఓపెన్ కావద్దు. జూమ్ ఐడి లాంటివి ఇచ్చి సిస్టమేటిక్గా అనుకుందాం. డౌట్స్ ఉంటే అడగండి, రైట్?
Sir, need to study only selected topics or whole book?
Which one, Baba?
New Horizon and
No, New Horizons, the book itself is written selectively. So, no need to worry about it. You will understand because we'll in our classrooms, we'll discuss each and every topic in detail. That's why I'm saying it takes 120 classes. And you will tell one day that, sir, it's sufficient to follow the class notes. You will tell with your own mouth. Just wait and watch. But you can read this book because the language of that book is really good. It will be sufficient. Or if you want a guide, Aribam is there always with us, right? So don't worry, okay? What to read, how to read, we'll be discussing. Adama Visham, right? Can I close? Is there any other doubts you have? No? Online people?